Depression is a disorder that affects more than 264 million people worldwide. And despite the word depression being one of the most used terms in recent times, it's not always easy to identify or treat it. Why? Because one of the main symptoms of this disease is precisely the tendency to withdraw and isolate yourself, which makes receiving help incredibly difficult. In this video, we're going to explore strange habits that might indicate someone is suffering in silence with this condition. And trust me, some of these habits are so subtle that even the person experiencing them might not realize what is happening. Stay until the end because the last habit might be the wake-up call you or someone you love desperately needs. Depression doesn't announce itself with a loud bang. It creeps in silently, wrapping itself around your life like an invisible chain. And the worst part, these chains disguise themselves as normal behaviors, as quirky habits, as personality traits. But they're not. They're red flags screaming for attention, and most people miss them completely. So let's dive deep into these 6 strange habits that depression causes. Habits that are destroying lives right now as we speak. Habit number 1, the fear of asking for help. You feel profoundly sad, deeply broken inside, but the thought of asking for help terrifies you. Now, even though the depressed person doesn't want to depend on anyone's help, there should be no shame in asking for support when you need it. The problem is that people with depression most of the time find it excruciatingly painful to request someone's help. Why? Because they're terrified of being seen as a burden by others. They fear being treated with prejudice, with misunderstanding, with that look that says, "You're too much, you're too weak, you're not strong enough." So instead of reaching out, they smile and say everything's fine. They invent stories to cover up the difficulties they're facing. They build elaborate facades to hide the fact that they're drowning. And every day that passes, they sink a little deeper, convinced that staying silent is somehow protecting everyone around them when in reality, it's killing them slowly. Habit number 2. Accumulating massive amounts of debt. Spending lots of money or buying things impulsively are behaviors that can be directly linked to depressive disorders. So, have you noticed yourself lately buying a bunch of stuff impulsively, compromising your financial security without even thinking twice? Look, for some people with depression, buying things, especially expensive things or buying in excess, ends up being an escape valve. It's a behavior that offers temporary relief because it serves as compensation, as a distraction from the pain eating them alive inside. In that moment, when you're clicking add to cart, when you're swiping that credit card, there's a brief rush, a tiny spark of something that feels almost like happiness. But over Chimi, this only generates another massive problem, which is precisely financial chaos. The bills pile up. The debt grows. And now you're not just dealing with depression, you're dealing with financial ruin on top of it. And that creates even more anxiety, even more shame, even more reasons to hide from the world. Habit number 3, the complete absence of meaning. Searching for meaning in life is something that's part of human nature. We all search for a reason to live, a purpose that drives us forward. But in depressed people, this search takes on very specific and dark contours. The profound sadness that is the hallmark of depression makes the person feel constantly lost, vulnerable, inadequate, and like they're wasting time with every breath they take. It's as if nothing is good enough to awaken enthusiasm or motivation in them anymore. That movie you used to love? Meaningless. That career you worked so hard for? Pointless. Those relationships you cherished? Empty? This clouded vision makes the person stop perceiving all the beauty and meaning that life inherently carries. Everything becomes gray, flat, two-dimensional. The world loses its color and texture, and you're left wandering through existence like a ghost, going through the motions but feeling absolutely nothing. And the terrifying part is that you can't remember what it felt like when things did matter, when life had flavor, when waking up wasn't a punishment. Habit number 4. Extreme social withdrawal. The absence of meaning frequently leads to social withdrawal. But this isn't a temporary retreat or a pause to recharge your batteries. No. The withdrawn behavior caused by depression is a kind of escape from the world entirely. The person desires to isolate themselves totally and completely. They want to shut themselves off from everything and everyone. It's as if isolation itself would somehow provoke healing, or at least diminish the suffering they feel every single second. But that's not what happens. Isolation actually makes it harder to access the people who can help. You cancel plans. You stop answering texts. You let calls go to voicemail. You watch your phone light up with messages from worried friends and family, and you physically cannot make yourself respond. It feels like there's a wall of solid concrete between you and the rest of humanity. And every day you spend alone, that wall gets thicker, higher, more impenetrable. You tell yourself you'll reach out tomorrow, next week, when you feel better. But that day never comes because isolation feeds depression, and depression feeds isolation, creating a vicious cycle that becomes nearly impossible to break. Habit number 5. Severe sleep and eating disturbances. One of the most common scenarios in depressive episodes is the presence of sleep disorders or changes in eating habits. The person starts waking up very late and going to sleep very late too, completely reversing their day and night cycle. Others can sleep for hours and hours and hours, feeling a need for sleep that is never completely satisfied, never enough to make them feel rested. This gives other people the false impression that the depressed person is just lazy, just unmotivated, just making excuses. But it's so much deeper than that. Some people can't sleep at all, lying awake for hours trapped in racing thoughts and crushing anxiety, and eating, it goes to extremes. Some people lose their appetite entirely. Food becomes repulsive. The thought of eating makes them nauseous. Others eat compulsively, raiding the kitchen at all hours, trying desperately to fill the void inside with food, as if they could literally consume their sadness and make it disappear. But neither extreme helps. Whether you're starving yourself or stuffing yourself, you're still empty inside, still broken, still suffering. And finally, habit number 6. And this one causes so much misunderstanding and conflict, unstable mood swings. The other behavior that causes incomprehension and arguments is mood instability in depressed people. Sudden changes, explosive outbursts, fights over absolutely nothing make the depressed person seem annoying, crazy, or simply unbalanced to those around them. People do you understand why you were fine 5 minutes ago and now you are re-crying or screaming or shutting down completely. They don't see the internal battle, the way your brain is constantly attacking you, the way every emotion feels amplified 1,000 times. Depression is indeed an imbalance, but it's an imbalance that has a cure and can be treated. These mood swings aren't personality flaws. They're symptoms. They're your brain crying out for help in the only way it knows how. And the people around you might not understand. They might get frustrated. They might walk away. But that doesn't mean you're broken beyond repair. It means you need support, professional help, treatment that addresses the root cause instead of just judging the symptoms. Now, I want you to stop and really think about this. How many of these habits did you recognize in yourself? How many of them have you seen in someone you care about? Depression is not a choice. It's not weakness. It's not something you can just snap out of or think your way through. It's a legitimate medical condition that hijacks your brain chemistry and turns your own mind into your worst enemy. And here's the thing that nobody talks about enough. Depression is a liar. It tells you that you're alone, that nobody cares, that asking for help is pointless, that you're beyond saving. But every single one of those thoughts is a lie constructed by a diseased brain that desperately needs help. So if you identified with several of these habits, please, I'm begging you, don't ignore this. Don't wait until it gets worse. Don't convince yourself that you can handle it alone. Seek help now. Talk to a true friend who won't judge you. Reach out to a family member you trust. Contact a mental health professional, a therapist, a counselor, a doctor. And if you're scared or ashamed to go alone, ask someone to go with you. Take a friend, a family member, even a teacher or coworker, anyone you trust. There is absolutely no shame in needing help. The only shame is in suffering silently when relief is possible, when treatment is available, when you could be living a life that feels worth living again. And if you know someone displaying these habits, please reach out to them. Sometimes all it takes is one person saying, I see you, I'm worried about you. I'm here for you to plant a seed of hope that can save a life. If this video resonated with you, or if you think it could help someone else, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, share this with someone who needs to see it. You never know whose life you might save by simply sharing a video. Depression thrives in silence and darkness. Let's bring it into the light. Let's talk about it. Let's fight it together. Because together, we are so much stronger than this disease. Until the next video, take care of yourself and take care of each other.